Yes, we do apologize. Special good night to all our viewers on the platform. Greetings, my friends. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Tonight, we are only on our Facebook channel, all right? We are broadcasting only on our Facebook channel, all right? So we want to greet you. Welcome to the platform. Hoping that you had yourselves a beautiful and productive day. Please share the live. You got to help me out. If you can get it over to Facebook. For some reason, I am stuck with the software. Maybe I did not put it on early enough, but it is what it is. And we are here tonight, and we're hoping that we can spend some beautiful time together. Let me get into the chat room. Let's get into the chat room. Greetings, friends. Please share as much as you can. All righty. Let's see how we're doing. Yes, we are on. Boss Lady and all the others over there. Please share. We are only on our Facebook, on our YouTube channel. For some reason, I was not able to get our system up on Facebook in time, but we will see what can happen between now and then. So I just want to wish everyone a beautiful, beautiful night. It seems that we might be able to get on to our Facebook site. Just bear with us as we get ourselves situated here on Caribbean American News Network. All right. So it seems like our Facebook, we are not up on that platform. Let's just see our quality here of sound. Okay, good. So the quality is excellent. Excellento. All righty. So let's bring some order in the house, folks. Greetings, greetings, greetings. If you just bear with me, we're trying to get our viewers from Facebook over to our YouTube channel. And if you just bear with us, we will do well there. All right? Just bear with us as we try to pull our people over. We don't want anyone to miss out on what is happening here at Caribbean American News Media. All right? Just bear with us as we bring some order in the courtroom. Okay? All right. So let's see what we can do, how best we can do it to get our people in to the chat room here on our media. All right. The folks are looking for us over there on Facebook, but they're not going to find us. They will have to come over to the platform. Please share the news, and we will watch the signal grow as the news is shared. Okay. We get in there. We get in there. We get in there. We are getting there. Almost there. Uh-huh. Ay, ay, ay. That's technology for you. But all right, so we're going to fire on our one channel tonight, and we know our folks are going to come over. But again, I bid you a beautiful welcome over to Caribbean American News Network. Was a kind of busy news day today, but I had the opportunity of just observing listening, reading, doing some follow-up on what is going on there in St. Lucia in the Eastern Caribbean. But again, welcome, folks. Please share the live. Please share the live. Simunla Kaga de Pudu everywhere. They're looking everywhere for us. And so we are going to we are going to we're going to go now. I was a little distracted, just trying to ensure that our people are not sending messages that are looking for us over on our regular Facebook platform. All right. So I tried my best to send a signal over to them to let them know that we are on the. Okay, good. All right, folks. So, order in the court. We are in the house today. Blessed greetings to all. And, today we had a lot of stuff going on. One, that brother, Mr. Jules, he's questioning whether I just dress up and put on my graduation clothing. And also I had today Mr. Bernard Haynes trying to lecture another individual, my friend, concerning me how, basically I'm no hope. There's no hope for me, basically. If you listen carefully, I'm the worst if you listen to the discussion carefully. But I say, folks, we got to remain focused. And I always use the word focus because there's a lot going on. Now, today we got the news that was confirmed by the United Workers' Party official page that a court decision was handed down in the case against Mr. Ernest Hilaire and Allen Chastanet there at the Court of Appeal of the Eastern Caribbean. The Court of Appeal of the Eastern Caribbean, which is the Supreme Court, and they are handing over a win to the Honorable Allen Chastanet, which would be maybe his third win, basically. I am not sure, and I keep saying this, about the government's legal team. This might be a good time for there to be a review of the lawyers who are advising the government of St. Lucia. So we know it all started with the Rovergate situation where Mr. Chastanet, as Prime Minister, had some concerns over a vehicle that was placed in the inventory of the St. Lucian government. It was placed there, not following the proper protocols, and also removed as an asset. So it was all these transactions was done by one group of persons outside of the protocols. And so Mr. Chastanet challenged it. We saw Mr. Chico being hauled into court. We saw where Mr. Chico, the custom officer, getting a bad deal out of it. You saw Mr. Philip J. Pear walking, that's after their victory, walking to the courts with the Speaker of the House and Mr. Hilaire, and his statement, as I quote, that he's going to ensure that justice is done. And the justice that he's speaking about is that Mr. Hilaire gets away from that those charges or the court case. And so the court ruled in his favor. Mr. Allen Chastanet challenged the court, And it is a constitutional challenge, really, when you look at this this whole court situation between Mr. Allen Chastanet and Ernest Hilaire. And that's what we have been saying, folks, over and over again, that ever so often countries need to look at their constitution, need to look at their laws. But in St. Lucia, our politicians have been so lazy and have been caught up in doing everything else but ignore the constitutional reform, constitutional changes that need to happen to meet the times that we are existing in, that we're living in. All right, so what happened 100 years ago? I mean, we have come a long way, and we have seen amendments to constitution around the world. Yes, there are checks and balances in making those changes, but they are needed in our society. And Mr. Allen Chastanet challenged the norm. He challenged these laws that are being misinterpreted by legal minds. Now, I heard Mr. Hilaire making a statement that it means that our lawyers are being misled, are being trained wrong, and all these kind of accusations now flying, and rightfully so. He have lost in the court, and of course he's going to feel very bad, and he will want to have a talk with his lawyers to ensure that they themselves understand the Constitution of St. Lucia. They themselves understand that, they have been guessing the Constitution all along. And when it is really challenged and it got to stand on its own legs in court, then you find that that is not happening. And skillfully, Mr. Chastanet was able to go into the Constitution, challenge it. And it took a Labour Party government to push him to that point where the Constitution got to be challenged. Even with the Speaker of the House, it had to be challenged. It was challenged. And we saw where courts are saying, wait a minute, something is wrong here. Mr. Chastanet won. He won his case. There is no beating around the bush. There is no hiding. Mr. Chastanet won the case against Mr. Hilaire. Now, I hear a lot of the bloggers going around and they're saying a lot of craziness. They have gone into high gear because of this win. Now, they will be saying that the courts are corrupt. They're going to be saying that, something is wrong with the legal system and we got to fix it, because Mr. Hilaire now is saying that he will have to speak to the Attorney General to see whether we need to make adjustments. Now, very funny that once it hit home to an individual in government, then he wants to ensure that, that there is something that can be done to remedy the Constitution. Why, when a mother who is murdered, or when certain things affect the poorer class in the society, that there is no politician saying, let's look into the laws. Let's see how we can amend the laws based on the poor man's situation. But no, Mr. Hilaire wants to ask the Attorney General to look into it because he lost the case. So these guys are not putting you first. Those guys don't care about you. And it is clear. So you got to come to my courtroom for justice. Mani pouvoir, huh? But it is true. So you got to come to my courtroom for justice. because governments are looking out for themselves. So the guy lost the case, and hooray! Something is wrong with the Constitution. We got to fix it now. Huh? Now he's saying something is wrong with the courts. Not with the Constitution. Not with his action, you know. The guy's not saying something is wrong with his actions. The guy's saying something is wrong with the courts. I hope you understand this. And I'll tell you, you have every right, St. Lucians, United Workers' Party supporters, to celebrate. Because now we are realizing that there is a problem with legal minds in St. Lucia. So the local courts ruled in Hilaire's favor, sided with him basically. And the issue is all about civil court codes, whether you can use the US statutes, the UK statutes or laws, where it can be brought into St. Lucia. That's the argument. And because it has never been challenged, then it's challenged and it cannot stand. It cannot stand. So, you know, and based on what we're hearing is that once there is no law in St. Lucia pertaining a case, then you will have to adopt, I believe, the UK statutes or laws. Now, all the time as politicians, you sit around, you want to deal with boundaries, you want to deal with what affects you. And now you're realizing, because you got blindsided, that yes, the Constitution will jam you at some point. Do you believe that is why there's a rush to go to the CCJ? Something is going on. Because even your local courts are a little confused about some of the laws on the books. And it would appear that they are guessing their way. They are guessing their way when it comes to you, the citizens, getting justice. I hope you understand how serious this is. While you are celebrating, Allen Chastanet wins Privy Council case against Ernest Hilaire. Big win. And if I was Allen Chastanet, I personally would be having a nice glass of Morby. A nice glass of Morby. Huh? So win. A win is a win. Now, there are other cases that might end up at the same court, at the Court of Appeal. Might. Because Mr. Chastanet has maybe 8 or so cases out there against Mr. Richard Frederick. And I believe one against Joachim Henry. A lot of lawsuits out there. It's just been thrown around left, right, and center. Eh? And so the hacks are running around. The hacks are jumping everywhere. They're jumping. 3 times. And by the way, if you look at the lawyers, right? Let's see if we can find something with, if I can find something with the lawyers, huh? Hold a minute. And by the way, this judgment was given today, that is the 13th of June. And it was actually heard on the 27th of February, 2023. So they heard the case in February on the 27th, and the judgment was handed down today, 13th of June. And that is again the case between Mr. Chastanet and Mr. Hilaire in the court, at the Court of Appeal there in St. Lucia. You can look at that those documents there. But surprisingly, let me see if I can find, you see the computer is malfunctioning, so I have the document there from the court. And if you look at the lawyers, friends, you're looking at some local lawyers, which some of them are part of the government of St. Lucia. Now, what you see on the screen there is the date, the judgment, and the magistrate or the justice says that you have Jones, Ligat, and you have Burrows, you have Rose, and those guys who sat on the case. About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 of them sat on this case. And I believe the judgment was well put together. Well put together. And for your information, there are a number of other cases in the Eastern Caribbean that these judges they were monitoring. They had them sitting there because they had to do a lot of research on this case. It was a challenge for the courts. And who did that? Allen Chastanet took that on. An expensive venture, but yet he took it on. So we have, So we have lawyers like for Mr. Hilaire, and they were instructed by Foster's. That's in St. Lucia. So I have Estefan. That's the guy, I think he's from Grenada or Dominica, who did the case in St. Vincent against the government workers who were dismissed without money, and the court actually threw the book in his face and he had to appeal the case. And we have, Antoine St. Rose, and a number of those lawyers there representing Hilaire, not as a whole group of them. Mr. Chastanet had them to spend a good set of money in the courts. Yes, a good set of money. Now, some of you say, well, Mr. Chastanet didn't have to do that. Yes, he got to do it. Somebody got to take on the Constitution. Somebody got to take on some of these legal minds in St. Lucia because they have been misrepresenting the intent of the Constitution. Such as the speaker, you hear him over and over interpreting stuff that maybe he have no idea about. And you can see the misapplications of justice. And who knows who is sitting at Bodily, sitting at different institutions, whose cases are just sitting there because you do not have the money to appeal. And they're wrong judgments. And that's why we need to speak up, friends, on behalf of those who cannot afford a good lawyer to defend them and to challenge decisions by the court. And you got to be careful with lawyers, because some of them know that you're poor and you're borrowing or you're taking loans for your case. And they will just treat it, just let the process go through. They don't, some of them, I believe, I suspect they don't really do a lot of research, or they don't put a lot of effort into your cases. And many of you can identify with you having to be calling a lawyer and asking them what's going on and what happened to your case, blah, blah, blah. Some of you would have cases that went through the courts and you know nothing about, but yet you're paying a lawyer. I am sure there are persons out there like that. I am sure that there are persons out there who go through this miscarriage of justice in the country. And so this name keeps coming up, Anthony Estefan, and he's been losing a lot of challenges lately. He is advising the speaker. These very guys are part of the legal minds. Yet they had a speaker to make some boo-boos at the beginning, and we keep seeing it over and over and over in the country. Something is wrong. Either we got to send our lawyers back to school, not for no refresher. They got to start all over again so that they can truly represent you, the people. I'm telling you my mind. I'm speaking my mind, which I'm entitled to. Huh? I am speaking my mind. So, what I would recommend with the Constitution of St. Lucia is that there be constitutional reform, and that the people of St. Lucia be engaged in it. There need to be some changes. There need to be a referendum when you're doing some of the changes. You need to engage legal minds, not just labor hack lawyers or UWP hack lawyers. You need to engage all legal minds in spite of their party and affiliation. You need to engage opposition. You need to engage civil society in the discussion when it comes to constitutional reform, because it's the sacred book of the country. So you want to be steady, you want to be accurate, you want to be on the right track. You don't want to make any errors. So therefore, you must take your time and have a discussion. Start a discussion on constitutional reform. But the question is, can the people of St. Lucia trust those who are in power now to engage in such matter? We see all the hoorah with Carnival. We hear about pageant flopping, this event not making sense, this event backfiring. Do we trust people like that to tamper with the Constitution of St. Lucia? We see a speaker making decisions that he has no place, that is out of his league, but being guided by a lawyer. Do we trust those people in that system to do those changes that are necessary? If they are making if they are causing such if they are making these expensive errors, So these are the questions. Can the people of St. Lucia, civil society, trust the people who are there right now to assist in the necessary changes that are needed in this Constitution? Do we? Who the Labour Party is going to engage, Esther Anthony? Man is being enriched right here in St. Lucia by the St. Lucia government, being paid handsomely, only to be losing and losing and losing cases one after the other. Do we trust them? That's the question. But we must have a conversation. We must have a conversation. I know tonight is not juicy and everything, but we must have a conversation concerning our courts, our Attorney General, our Speaker of the House, our politicians. We must have a conversation about these things. We must. We must speak about freedom of speech and expression. We must have a legal conversation on that. We must have a conversation now concerning laws that will guide social media commentators. What line is there to be crossed? Cyber laws. So, legally, there's a long way that we must go. There's a long way. We are way off from where we should be, legally. And as I said earlier, now we are seeing that once you challenge or you put pressure on the Constitution of St. Lucia, it breaks. Once you have enough money to throw at it, it cracks like a glass. But before that, you have persons interpreting what they want, how they want, and when they want. And there's a danger. Who suffers? The Malay way. You don't even have $5 to go to Castries to pay the bus. Would you have money to challenge a court decision that you have just borrowed money to pay a lawyer for? Huh? Think about it. The injustice in the nation. Think about it. Think about the backlog of cases that are just sitting there. Think about innocent people that sits at Bodiley prison. Think about it. All because they did not have a good lawyer. They did not have the money. They cannot appeal their case. Financially, they're not there. Think about the amount of families that are in distress in the legal system. Small claims court, even traffic courts, even allegations against police officers. Think about the process that frustrates the public. And when justice should be near, justice is far away from the Malay ways. And what do you argue about? People's character. You speak about the person, the messengers, instead of speaking on these issues that are affecting us and will affect us at some point in the future. As long as you're breathing, the possibility is there that you can end up in a legal challenge. Think about the seriousness of what I'm saying. While we are celebrating that Mr. Chastanet won, think about the many families who cannot achieve justice in the land. Think about it. Think about it, folks. Let's take some time for reflection tonight. While we are celebrating, Mr. Chastanet had a beautiful day. We said to God be the glory. I told you last night that Mr. Chastanet will get win after win after win. I told you that. Did I not? Yes. Is there a possibility that he lose a case? Once he's breathing, that possibility is there. But for now, what we can say is every challenge that Mr. Chastanet has taken on, he have been victorious. No one as far as I can recall in history, have challenged the Speaker of the House legally, as far as I can remember. In modern times, challenge it. Challenge the Speaker. Challenge laws and rules, many that will appear to be unconstitutional. Many customs, practices, and traditions that have been used in courts and in the House, just as I said, once you challenge it and you throw monies at it or you throw some pressure on it, it breaks because it cannot stand up with the constitution of the country. Think about what I'm saying to you. And think about Mr. Allen Chastanet, that will go down in history as the one who challenged the system head on and was able to bring along certain changes in the legal system here in St. Lucia. Think about what I'm saying to you, friends. Forget about all the noise. But what I really want to see are laws implemented that will protect all people when it comes to social media. I told you what I had to do. I am in a country where there are those laws to protect you and me. I'm in a country where there are more laws than there are water. Yes, there are some that we are ignorant about. I have my penal code book. Let me just give you a break and I will come back. Stay right there. Don't move. Okay, I'm back. Stick with me. Are you there? Okay, good. Listen. Listen to me. You think I'm a fake judge? Look, you see this? You see this in my hand, folks? Penal law and criminal procedure laws of the state of New York. This is only New York. Different states, you have different laws. Now, there are a lot of persons who are in this country and they do not understand this. So I have all this to protect me and to guide me as a citizen, as one who live in this country. Half of St. Lucians do not understand the laws, the codes of St. Lucia. The possibility is there that there are many who are violating this without knowing, and there is a saying that ignorance of the law is no excuse, which I find kind of strange, because if I don't know, then please, how am I going to be? Do you not educate me if I break a law that I don't know? Do you not, as a legal or the police, pull me aside and say, look, you know what you just did? It is against the law. What we will do, seeing that you're not aware, we will guide you through it. We will want you to come for 1 week at our headquarters so that we can guide you through these laws so you would not make those mistakes again. But what happened is that they throw the book at you. Well, everywhere they do it. Most places, that's what happened. You're not educated. And if we can have some of those lawyers, if Mr. Richard Frederick and all the others can take their time to teach St. Lucians about the laws of the country, instead of fighting over Mr. Chastanet and arguing all sorts of nonsense, if they would use their time that God has given to them, and some of them are on borrowed time. use that time to educate the masses. But I'm not sure if you guys can do that. Because you guys are in the House and the Speaker is being, the courts are throwing the books at your guys. Basically, you know what happened today is that the court said to Mr. Hilaire's people, basically, what I gather from it is that you guys are not making any sense right now. This should not even have gotten here, because if you read the Constitution, then you're not making much sense. You guys should not be in front of me. Because look at the amount of lawyers, these 6 lawyers, all of them are making these fatal errors over and over and over again. And the overseeing legal firm, Foster, and a recognized lawyer from one of the other islands, Labour Party lawyer in both St. Vincent and St. Lucia, financed by the Labour. Think about it. Think about it. If each of our citizens can get a copy and can go online to the registry or somewhere and get the criminal codes, get those laws, and take your time and read them. It is time to stop the ignorant discussions that we're having. And some people get upset. They say, I'm a preacher and I'm calling people names. Some people need to be called names. Some people are more stubborn than a mule. Some people are morons, and that is the truth. Some people are walking in deliberate ignorance because you have no excuse. There is information, there is light, but you choose to walk in darkness, and when you stump your toe, then you blame somebody else. When there is light and there is information, why are we perishing in St. Lucia for lack of information, lack of knowledge? When there are tools, there are criminal codes, there are constitutions that you can read up on. Instead of spending your time lying and accusing and insulting people. And there is one guy, I got to call his name on this platform. His name is Bernard Haynes. I have never seen a hack like him. When I tell you I've never seen a hack like him, the guy is just, I don't understand. The guy is just dripping with ignorance, dripping with anger and bitterness, and tries to speak intelligently. When once he starts speaking, he contradicts himself, he stumbles over his words, he eats some of his own words, choke on his own words, and wants to condemn and to speak on matters that he has no place to speak on. I have never seen a hack-a-lack like that guy. Honestly, I listened to him today, and he said, oh, Garfield is not good. He's a liar because Shasta is a liar. And that's all. I mean, and they say, oh, me and Garfield are Christians. No, both of us are not. I know who I am, sir. So here is the point with him. I am bad because I support the Honorable Allen Chastanet. He is good because he supports Philip J. Pear. Listen to this argument carefully. Now, let's say we're in court, which we are. I have my code of conduct for Mr. Haynes. You come into my court and you bring Mr. Oliver into the courthouse. And your charge is that, Your Honor, he supports Allen Chastanet, so he's not good. I support Philip J. Pear, so I am good because I can see all the good things that Pear is doing. Mr. Pear is doing so much good things in St. Lucia. Garfield goes online every night and lies about Mr. Pear. Think about that argument, folks. Take some time. Breathe and think about such ignorance that a human being can utter from their mouth. Yet at the same time casting judgment. Why? Because one don't agrees with your position. So for instance, let's try to turn the table. If I stood here today preaching on behalf of the SLP, Bernard Haynes would be praising me. Just like he do all the other speakers for the SLP, he would be praising them. They can insult women, they can call people the nastiest of names. He sits under those lives and cheers on and support. Support the nastiness. But is so blinded towards his biasness that he cannot see that he is erring and that there is no sides that are the perfect sides. Whether you're SLP or UWP, there is no perfect side. You're dealing with men with defects and men that are prone to fail and to make false judgment like some of the lawyers do in St. Lucia. So I would classify him as one of the worst hacks that I've ever seen and experienced. Not only that, one who is self-centered. In other words, he must be in the spotlight. It's all about him. Anytime you engage, it's, I do this, I send tools, I. But these same persons who are trying to come across as so self-righteous forget the mess that they left in view in Soufriere. Forget where they used to work and what they did in the past. Forget that there are a lot of stuff in the closet that are not out there publicly. And because it is not out there publicly, I can speak as loud as I can on social media and cast aspersions on persons that I know nothing about. Sir, you have heard about me, but you don't know me. I'm going to say it again. As a lawyer, you have heard about me from your hacks, but you do not know me. So that's why I say again, just like in New York here, there are laws to protect me on social media. There are laws to protect my good name. And there are laws to protect your good name. I now got to remind people that when you are speaking about individuals, that you got to be careful that you do not cross a certain line. And I'm beginning to feel that I must listen closer. And I must observe with my magnifying glass to ensure that that line is not crossed. And when it is crossed, I must go to this to cure it. You understand what I'm saying? I must go to this for the cure, which is the Penal Code of New York. So, some of you are not out of reach of this criminal code. In St. Lucia, again, that's why I'm saying there need to be constitutional reform where a number of platforms or situations that never existed back in the day, the founders might have missed. Those must be corrected now. But freedom of expression must be guarded. I'm going to say it again. Freedom of expression, freedom of affiliation must be, the conscience must be protected. And for instance, an individual should be able to choose his or her day of worship without the government implementing laws to enforce worship. Now, this is big. I hope you can stay with me. I'm a little legal tonight. I'm a legal judge tonight. You're in my courtroom. I'm going to say it again. While we need to look at our laws and the Constitution and make necessary adjustments concerning bullying through cyberspace, harassment through cyberspace, besmirchment of characters through cyberspace, tarnishing people's good name through cyberspace, we got to look back. But we got to guard freedom of expression, freedom of affiliation. A person should not be forced by any government to choose a day of worship. So, for instance, if I am a Sabbath keeper, when I say Sabbath keeper, I keep Saturday based on the Bible as my Sabbath. Not my Sabbath, as the Sabbath of the Lord. I must be given that privilege. That privilege should be mine. Not the government's own. That privilege should be mine to choose whatever day I want to worship on. Not the government. So the government can't say to me as a Seventh-day Adventist, open my shop on Saturday. Don't stifle my conscience. Once the government starts to cross that line, a sacred line, then we have a legal problem and a spiritual one. So if you're a Catholic and you keep Sunday because you believe Sunday is Resurrection Day and you believe that you should worship on Resurrection Day, that's your choice. That's your choice. Should not be enforced by any government in this world. By the way, we now know for a fact that as you get closer to end time events, that governments will attempt to tamper with the constitution of countries. It will be repudiated. There will be attempts to change it when it comes to worship, to side with certain religious organizations. To say to you, you can't worship on Saturday, you can only worship on Sunday, blah, 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 blah. We know for the fact, legally and spiritually, that will happen. But until then, such time, we must guard those sacred rights. People should be able to speak on things that are affecting them without governments threatening them. Now, when I say speak, some of us speak carelessly. And we say things about people that are not right, that are not true. We spread rumors and lies. Once it sounds good to us, then we believe it is true. Once it comes from a certain individual, then we take it as sacred and we start spreading as truth. That brings confusion in a society. We must respect people's space, people's decision of choice, whether to affiliate with the Adventist church or the Catholic church or the Pentecostal church. We must protect the rights of people to choose political parties that they so desire to associate themselves with. What we have now is an attempt, a slick attempt to chisel away from that constitutional right by political parties. If you are not of my party, then you are not a St. Lucian. If you're not of my party, then you're not a Christian if you talk politics. If you're not of my party, then you have no right to speak against my government. That's not constitutional, St. Lucians. That's against the Constitution. A matter of fact, the St. Lucian Constitution afford workers 1 day of worship of their choice. Many of you workers don't know that. I'm going to repeat it again. The Constitution of St. Lucia and St. Vincent, and I know it for a fact because we had certain situations on the job where we had to stand up and speak up against companies trying to force workers to work on Saturday. And let me just say to you, St. Lucians, any job or businesses in St. Lucia that you are working with that are forcing you to work on a day of your worship, it is against the laws of the land. So let's say that you're a Catholic and you said, look, I'm going to be baptized in the Adventist church. You go to your boss and you say, boss, I'm now a Seventh-day Adventist and I cannot work on Saturdays anymore. And he says to you, you're fired. It's against the Constitution of St. Lucia, but it has not been challenged enough as yet. I challenge it on behalf of an individual on the job. They did not know at the time that I was a Seventh-day Adventist. I sat on the board responsible for hiring, and an Adventist came and they asked him, can you work on Saturdays, on weekends? He said, I can work on Sunday. I can't work on Saturday because I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. Now, when I heard Seventh-day Adventist, then my antenna went up, but I did not show that I knew what was happening. So I sat in that group and they interviewed the guy. And when the guy left, the guy was qualified for the job. They disqualified that guy because he was a Seventh-day Adventist. Discriminated against him because he was a Seventh-day Adventist. I sat there and I allowed him to go, and I went at them. I went at them like a ton of brick. And I said to them, how dare you? How dare you reject a well-qualified person because they are Seventh-day Adventists? Those were the words. Oh, he's a Seventh-day Adventist, we can't hire him. What you should have said at the time is that, let's try to get some more people who can work the whole entire weekend. But we can hire Seventh-day Adventists. But they discriminated against him because he was Seventh-day Adventist. Right in those countries, those Windward Island countries, it happened. I saw it. I experienced it. And why? It is not challenged enough so that it can crack. And businesses can know that they are working outside of the laws of St. Lucia. So there's a lot of stuff in the island, in our legal system, that we must we must put the flashlight on. And it is affecting you, and you don't even know that you are within your rights. So when some of the Labour Party says to you, we're not hiring you because you're a UWP, or we're firing you because we're UWP, that can be challenged in the courts and you can win. You can. Half of those guys who are spewing my name on social media, I can challenge them in the courts and win. I can get an injunction on Bernard Haynes right here in Brooklyn and stop him in his track. Yes, I can. I can be successful in it because I am equipped and he is not. So you understand what I'm saying? A lot of these guys want to come on social media and talk, but they are not protecting themselves with this. They're not arming themselves. I will say to you, legally, I've done my homework. Legally, Caribbean American News is protected by the federal government. I moved the documents over from here. I have the seal of the United States government, the Senate. Why I had to do it? I had to protect the work. I had to protect the broadcast. You know what happened to KKRR last week? He took one of my pictures from our platform from online, from Caribbean American News page. Took it and put it on his page. And put some words at the top of it, not too nice words. Guess what I did? Understanding my rights and how my work is protected, I challenge it. I challenge it. I send a note to Facebook. I challenge it. And I challenge it with laws. You know what they did? It wasn't long, and I have it right somewhere wrong. They sent a report to me back and they said, we apologize. We have removed your picture from Mr. KKRR's page. It is not in keeping with our laws and guidelines and policies. It is bullying and it is harassment. And they removed it immediately. Why? Because I use codes. And I am more informed now as to when my rights are being violated by persons. So I say this to say that we need to be more informed as citizens of a country, and ignorance, my friends, is not a nice place to be. Yes, there's a lot of things we don't know. That's called ignorant. Don't take it as a bad word. Take it as a word that will help you to improve. Some of you were born in St. Lucia, you don't know nothing about the laws or the codes or your rights. I hear a lot of people walking around, I have rights, it's my rights. You ask them, what is your right? Musapali. Not informed. And the politicians are not making any step to inform you about anything. They know it's Roro. They know that you don't care. So they just tell you give you the Roro, give you carnival, give you jazz, and you'll be okay. But I will say this: if there is a time, if there was ever a time that you need to equip yourself with the code of conduct, the laws, the constitution of your country, it is now. Because some of you have massive cases sitting under, but because you don't know, you go to a business place, you got mistreated, you were harassed for shoplifting when you know nothing about it. You're just doing your regular shopping. You've been harassed, you were arrested and searched and patted down. You can challenge the institution. In the banks, same story, can be challenged. Some of you have never challenged certain fees that you're being charged, either by the cable company, by the Wasco, by Lucilec, by whatever. You have not challenged some of those bills. That's why I say to you, you have not thrown anything at it so that it will not crack. The problem, the good news is that when it cracks, everybody sees that they're being mistreated and maltreated. So you got to read your bills, ask questions. Why am I being charged this and that, blah, blah. Please submit to me something explaining the charges. Challenge things. A police just grab you in your pants and pull you and drag you and kick you and throw you in a vehicle and you stay quiet. And it is not challenged. You go to report something at the police station and the police treat you as dirty as they could. And you just walk away because it's the law, you're afraid. We don't challenge things. This is the age of enlightenment. You've got to challenge legal matters. And they call me a crazy man. I even challenge stuff within my church. Because you can't tell me this, and it is not supported with the Bible. And that's the problem. That's why a lot of people telling me, you in politics, why you do, blah, blah, blah. A lot of stuff has not been challenged. Huh? If it's not in the Bible, I don't want it. If it's your idea, or if you read a book and because of an era, certain things were happening, and you are counseled that you should avoid, then how can you tell me that I am going to hell when the Bible does not support it? So even in Christianity, the test of everything, doctrines and positions, should be referred to the church's constitution, which is the Bible. In your country, everything should be tested by your Bible, which is your constitution. Everything can be challenged there. So I am hoping that I made a lot of sense tonight. And I know that it's not the rural thing and everything else, that we were very legal as a judge. I must guide you. And one thing I want to warn you about, folks, and I'm going to make an example. So that you all can see, very soon. Yes. Some people have to answer to the things that they say. You got to make an example so that people can know that it's against the law. If you don't do it, how they will know? Some of them got to feel the hard way because you only tet kalbas. Nothing will teach them unless they are hauled before the law. And the Bible says, if possible, live peaceable with all men. And when it is not possible, you got to draw a line in the sand and say enough is enough. On the job. Some of you are being harassed, persecuted. Got to draw a line. Got to draw a line. So let me say this. Let me say this. And I hope you listen to me carefully, folks. Freedom you once hold there now is at stake. I'm going to say it again. Whether you're in St. Lucia, the United States, or the Eastern Caribbean, freedom that you guys once hold there now is at stake. I like to challenge things, whether it's a supermarket or a restaurant. Let me tell you what I did. I went with my daughter last week to buy some stuff that she wanted at the supermarket. I took her for the experience. So I said, you know, I don't want to put a lot of money on my card, so I'm going to give the girl $10 cash, and I'm going to put the rest on my card. I think the thing came up to $20. So she pretended like she couldn't speak English, but she took the $10 and she told me to swipe my card. When I looked at the account, I saw the full amount was deducted from my card. But yet she has my $10. Not only that, she said to me, oh, you have to give me $3 more. So I gave her $3 more. Now I'm playing along. So she cashed it in and she gave me the receipt, and I'm on the way out. I told my daughter, let's go back in. I walked around, go back in, and I said to her, call the manager for me. She called the manager. I said, look, you guys robbed me. He said, let me see. He went to look at the cameras. Then he came back. He's so sorry, blah, 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 blah. I was charged almost $40 for a $20 set of groceries. And I say it happened to many of you so often. Why? You don't challenge things. You don't challenge at the hospital, the healthcare centers. When you go and you're being abused, you're being bad, you receive bad treatment. There's also malpractice. Malpractice also is a big thing within the medical institutions in those countries. They are not being challenged. You lose your loved one, no questions asked. And because your loved one, they're older, there's no postmortem, and so you bury your dead not realizing that there is something going on. You don't know because you don't challenge, you don't ask questions. You taking your loved one for a headache, you pick them up at Lazarus or Rambali. No question is asked. Sometimes nobody gave you any information at all because you don't push. You don't ask the questions. A girl is arrested, taken into the police station, right in St. Lucia, taken into the police station, taken from the police station to body lay. She ends up at a morgue. She is told that the girl was found in prison, dead. Then she was told by doctors that the girl died at the hospital. And blah, 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 the story continues. And people just bury their deads and move on. People don't challenge. You don't challenge things because you're afraid. I've had people tell me, oh, don't ask them no question. Huh? The person is in the hospital. Don't ask them questions. The people are afraid to challenge because of an attitude in the society that if you ask questions, you'll be victimized. It's your constitutional rights to ensure that your rights are protected by asking questions. And that's why petitioning your government, it is your constitutional right also. It's afforded. It was given to you. So don't be afraid. And I'm not going to keep you long. I just wanted to share that with you while you're celebrating Mr. Chastanet's victory. And it's a good one. And there's more to come. I would say to you, you need to have a deeper look at your rights of your rights that has been that has been eroding over a period of time. Bus drivers drive you, bad drive you, loud music. You tell them, lower it down, they curse you. You feel endangered driving on their bus. There's nothing you can say. You're afraid they will cuss you out. You end up over a bank, injured. Bus driver have no insurance. Vehicle is not well maintained. Who investigates that? Who protects your right except you? But you got to know them, you see. Because if a driver is careless and he's overtaken and he has the lives of people on board and he's overtaken and he's jumping and he's doing all sorts of stuff on the road, racing other vans, and you're scared for your life, you have a right to report it. You have a right to talk to that driver. Because the life that you save might be yours or your family or your daughter coming from school on that same bus. But we are a bunch of cowards. Nobody's willing to come forward and to stand up. Nobody. You see injustice, you don't speak about it. You see wrongs in your society, but because you're so political, whether you're SLP or UWP, you're so political that you prefer to stifle your rights for your party. Don't stifle your rights for any party. The party will move on and leave you right there. It's time for St. Lucians to equip themselves. And to equip yourselves will be to empower yourselves. And when you empower yourselves, you become better citizens in your society. Because you understand, you can see the illegalities all around. You will see it. Why? Because you have eyes for it now. You know what is right and you know what is wrong. You see it on the job, you see it at your church. You see it on the bus. You know the bus fare is $1, they overcharge you $2. You know that's wrong. You document it. Don't be afraid. You go to a regular store in your village, you know the rice is $10, they charge you $40, you know that's price gouging, you know it's wrong. You go to the departments responsible and report it. You're protecting another person who might just have $5 to buy rice or $10. But we're a bunch of cowards, you see. People are afraid. You're afraid that your shed will burn down. So they say to you, don't cut your bananas, and you're afraid you don't cut the bananas. You prefer to leave them to spoil. But you don't know your rights. A lot of farmers cut off their nose and spoil their faces because they were part of the SLP's political machine. Even Anson was a United Workers' Party. He was there at the strike, falsely accused of bringing tires to burn things when he was not. He got disenfranchised, left the party. We got to be careful that we trample on people's rights and then we say to them, why did you leave, you dog? But some people get so hurt sometimes by the things that we do, the things that we say. We try to stifle people's rights and freedoms of expression and association. And that's why I must call it out, because the SLP believes, and they're playing a very dangerous game with the rights of people. They believe that they're the only ones entitled to work. And they're the only ones entitled to eat and to speak and to do everything. And some of you are afraid you don't talk. You're even afraid to put on a yellow shoes, a yellow socks. You're afraid of victimization. If you're in a country and you're afraid, then we got to revamp what we're doing. We got to start all over again. And we need to have an environment in St. Lucia where all are comfortable. All experience that freedom to express themselves in the best way they can, but respecting others. What we are seeing in the media is a violation of people's constitutional rights. It must be challenged. It will be challenged. And I repeat again, what we are not entitled to do under the Constitution is to spread rumors that we know nothing about. We are not entitled to do that. No, sir. We are not. Just like Sky FM, they're entitled to broadcast. The laws permit them to apply for a license and get a timely response from the government. Up to this day, they have not. Their constitutional privilege and rights are being trampled on. And everything is just in the news for a period of time. A minute, a moment, and it's gone. Next, let's move. A girl went to the police station earlier in the year in Dennery, in the Valley, because she was being abused. So her house was being stoned and everything else. And the police station was closed. Still no protection. A mother's child was bullied at the school. Still no protection under the Constitution for her son or herself. Woman was killed. Came to bury her father, locked up, taken to Bodiley. By the way, Bodiley is not a mental institution. Taken up there, accused of being mental, dead. The story goes on, the cycle goes on, and on, and on, and on, and on. And one side cheers on until another party goes in, and then they cry foul. But I'm not supporting victimization from any party. All are St. Lucians. If you're working well and you're doing your job, you deserve to work. But if you're wasting taxpayers' money, you're doing nothing. You're just clocking in and you're leaving. You work with the local town council in Dennery and you ain't doing nothing. You deserve to go and look for a job. But if you're working well, you deserve to stay there and work. And we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And that's how the cycle should go. Protect people's rights and privileges and freedom of expression and freedom of affiliation. Nobody should be victimized in St. Lucia. No victimizing. So Chastanet has the right to stand up in the House. The Constitution affords him that privilege, that right to speak on behalf of the people, to keep government in check. That's what the opposition is there to do. So when the opposition asks questions about Banan's land, it is his right. How dare you try to stifle him from his rights? People's rights are being trampled on left, right, and center. Lime, Digicel, all these companies should be challenged in court by the citizens. If you sign a contract or you have an agreement, a SIM card with any of these companies, and they say to you that you're going to get certain amount of megabytes of internet and you are not getting it at the end of the month, you have a right. That's a breach of their agreement. You have a right to challenge them in court and let them prove that they're supplying you with the internet that you're supposed to get. Or the water company, challenge them. There's a contract. Challenge them. Lucy, like, challenge them. Am I getting the service that I'm paying for? But you don't challenge nothing. So in St. Lucia, what we see is an erosion of the rights of citizens. Bernard Haynes and his cabals want to decide whose side I should be on to be right. Shame on you, clown. You're not even in St. Lucia. You can't even go there. You're not even in the country to experience what the people are going through. You will not vote in the next elections. But yet you want to tell people whose side to be on in order to be in your good books, as if you have a good book. The Constitution affords people those rights. And even you, sir, in Brooklyn, you have protection in Brooklyn there. And it seems that you're speaking the loudest. But you are protected there. Huh? Isn't that so? If you want to join the Democrats or the Republicans, that's your right. Nobody can victimize you in New York, right? They can't do it, right? But you want to do it in St. Lucia. How dare you? How dare you? With your moronic behavior. How dare you? Who gave you such authority? Who gave it to you? You are protected here in the United States, in Brooklyn. Protected. I know you can't vote in Brooklyn, but you are protected. You can express yourself on the road. You can even drive a vehicle in Brooklyn, protected. But want to take away people's rights to speak up on behalf of Mr. Chastanet and to stand in support with him, just like thousands have stood with John Compton. And just like thousands have stood with Philip J. Perry, just like thousands have stood with Kenny Anthony. How dare you speak about people's expression of choice? And you will never hear me calling any SLP any bad name because they choose to stand with Philip J. Perry. And that's where we will stop. Because it is their right to choose party's affiliation. It's their right to choose what church they're going to go. Just like it's your right, Mr. Haynes, to marry who you want to. Just like it is your right, sir. Others have that right also. But I will tell you, you have the right to remain silent. And I will help you out with that right. Because anyone who attempts to take away a person's freedom of expression or to stifle it, that person needs to be spoken about. And sir, you deserve a special medal from us tonight. And I'm going to afford you. Now, I hear a lot of the hacks complaining that I'm flushing people. So they're upset about my flushing. The flushing button has become a problem. It's burning. It's burning. It's burning. They said I'm Christian and I'm flushing people. Mr. Haynes, you, sir, deserve a royal flush. And my friend KKR, he's a clown. He falls off his chairs and stuff, so I'm not even going to waste my water. You know, he said he loved me. He want me to show my degree, but that's another case. He's just, you know. They are mad with the flush button. They said I'm calling people names. Brethren, you ever see me sit here and spend my time, a whole hour of my show, just calling people names? A bunch of liars. Caller, you on the air, Caribbean American News Media.
Pastor Garfield, good evening.
Good evening, my friend.
I'm in school tonight because I need to go to law school, you know?
Oh, you in school?
No, I said I'm in school tonight because you're teaching me some good lessons tonight.
I'm happy, though.
Great topic.
Thank you.
Yes, great topic.
Thank you.
And good show.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, I need somebody to school Bernard and Anson because
Talk to me.
they're talking too much crap on Facebook.
All right. Go ahead, caller.
None of them gonna take a plane there right now and go St. Lucia and vote. They up here. Apparently, who knows? They might be getting food stamps. They might be getting good health care. They might get in everything. Some of them maybe don't have the proper document to travel, but they're in good union. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they on Facebook brainwashing the people of St. Lucia. Don't take vaccine. Chastanet is a liar. All sorts of nonsense. And Son and Bernard Haynes and KKR. They should know better. It's not just because you're supporting a political party. You have to be so biased and even hatred in between.
Oh, my God.
Don't talk about Bernard Haynes.
Do you know him?
And if I know him, oh, I know him very well. I know him more than I know Anson. But I know Bernard Haynes. And Bernard Haynes should know better. They're tired of talking to him. Everybody knows he's a political labor hack.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't listen. Maybe he might go to St. Lucia. They might send him back to St. Lucia and take care of Emma in Soufrière. Because he's from Soufrière.
Oh, yes, Soufrière.
So Emma might give him a job because he's campaigning very far for Emma. Because he's living in Brooklyn and only nonsense he's talking.
Yeah.
Bernard Haynes. He needs to stop.
I agree with you, and I support you 100% that he needs to stop his nonsense and he needs to know what he's saying to. He have no break in his mouth.
I was just about to say he's supposed to know what to say. But what I'm trying to say, even though you support in a political party, that is your prerogative. This is your business.
Of course.
But the hatred that comes with it and the threats that comes with it, this is not necessary.
That's right. That's right.
I'm telling you. And the thing is that other people will run with their crap. Maybe, I don't know if they're on Facebook for likes or stars. I have no idea. But definitely, these labor hacks that is in Brooklyn, where I live, need to stop. And if they don't stop, maybe somebody will make them stop.
Yep.
Bernard Haynes went to a funeral, a wake they had in the Helen Night. Only crap, Leon Anson on Facebook. talking. Anson on Eastern Parkway, all in red.
And that's his right,
Chastanet, this is his right.
Yep.
I don't say that is not his right.
I know.
But what I'm trying to tell Anson, go to St. Lucia and campaign all in red. How dare you? Go to St. Lucia. That's where they need you, not on Facebook, on Eastern Parkway. Nobody, nonsense alone. Everybody passing and flaming Anson on Eastern Parkway like a big red Trump.
Well, Anson defended me today vigorously from Bernard Haynes, and the Lord permitted that the live just cut on him because Anson could not get him back to reasoning. The guy was so far off that he would not have been able to recover. The live just end.
Because the point is, he's talking so much nonsense sometimes, Pastor Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
He even twisting himself and get caught in every nonsense he's not supposed to be aired out.
That's right.
Now,
that's right. And he knows better.
I have another.
Go ahead.
He knows better.
Yeah.
He knows better.
Mm-hmm.
I have something else to say
Talk
about
to
that
me.
passport.
The line is yours. You go ahead.
My friend, it's 3 months now. My friend put an go and renew his passport.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
in St. Lucia?
Daughter, that is in St. Lucia.
Okay.
They call them because they have to go to Barbados and get their green card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It is 3 months right now.
Jeez.
Up and down for the passport. The time is approaching for them to be in Barbados to go and get their green card.
So that's an emergency passport that person needed.
Up to now. Now. Out of the country right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they return. Alva, Musa, and Pip is not in the country.
Oh, they're not?
What did they travel with? Did they travel with a Bible or with a passport?
Passport.
Hile is not in the country right now. What did he travel with? A banana leaf or a passport? The Speaker of the House, his wife and child is not in St. Lucia right now. What did they travel with? Questions I'm asking. Because I think as a St. Lucian, even though I'm living in the United States, I have the right to talk too. Because I can vote in St. Lucia too. And if Philip J. Pierre put taxes on houses, certain places, I will pay tax too. So I have the right to talk in St. Lucia. And I'll not come on air and mislead anybody.
That's right.
If that thing is not good, it's not good. So all these people, Alva, Musa, Pip, Jeremiah, Kenyan Tony, Hile, Speaker of the House, his wife and child, they are not in St. Lucia right now. What did they travel with? Did they travel with banana leaf or did they travel with a passport? And you telling me, people can have their third party or whatever.
Yeah.
Why the government cannot put things together so that the citizens of St. Lucia get their passport? Why the government put the passport, Brother Cassius, $250 and somebody is benefiting $650? Is that right?
Yeah. Although you don't have to go to that person. Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, you know, people desperate. They'll do anything.
For instance, a person who needs to get their green card.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is the duty of the government of St. Lucia to protect and take care of the citizens. That is why a government is being voted in office.
Yeah.
Philip J. Pierre is not fit to be no prime minister, and St. Lucians should know that. This is why I'm going to my grave saying Philip J. Pierre never win an election in St. Lucia to be the prime minister of St. Lucia. So this is why they're right now. You know what they're doing? They're just like mice. You see, when you put the food on the ground for the mice and they eat the mice, they eat the food and they all over the place like trembling, like they're drunk.
Right.
This is why the Philip J. Pierre administration, they're drunk. You don't see the Lord, what the Lord doing to them. making Mr. Chastanet win everything and more to come.
Yeah, there's more to come for sure, caller.
But
is this your first time calling her?
No, this is the third time I'm calling.
Oh,
I'll not mention my name tonight. I don't feel like mentioning
No,
my
don't
name
do
tonight.
it. Don't
but
do it.
Those that know my name don't know I'm a frequent caller on Sky FM. I air my voice on Facebook. I am afraid of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Once you speak in the truth, you can't be afraid of anything.
No, you can't be afraid.
They like to threaten people. They like to give people mepwe. When they give me mepwe and I feel like giving them the mepwe back, I will do it. So, but things are not running in St. Lucia like when Mr. Chastanet was there, and they know that. So tell KK Arau, I don't know what part of America he lives, and Bernard Haynes and Anson lives in Brooklyn with me. Tell them take a back seat. Stop making Emma put ice cream on a cone for Emma. Emma is a failure in Soufrière. They all know that. Philip JP administration is a failure. They know that.
Yeah.
So they're just behind Mr. Chastanet. Chastanet. They're going and say Chastanet. Anyway, Brother Garfield, thank you very much for the time.
Yep. Okay, no problem.
Good
Thank
show.
you for calling. No problem. Anytime.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, blessings. Thank you so much. Okay, that was our first caller for the night. Thank you. Now, I just came across in the Penal Code of New York, fortune telling on the paragraph 84, section 6165.33. I'm just going to share it with you before we go. We're not going to stay. And this is for New York, all right? And it's concerning fortune tellers. So people who are reading cards and things, there is something that I just found here. A person is guilty of fortune telling when for a fee or compensation which he directly or indirectly solicits or receives, he claims or pretends to tell fortunes or holds himself as being able by claimed or pretend use of occult power to answer questions or give advice on personal matters or to exercise influence or affect evil spirits or curse, except that this section does not apply to a person who engages in the aforedescribed conduct as part of a show or exhibition solely for the purpose of entertainment or amusement. Fortune telling is a Class B misdemeanor. So for those of you who are in the United States, in New York, and you go to those places, it is it's a Class B misdemeanor. Now I can find you maybe at another program what the penalty is for a Class B misdemeanor fortune telling. So that's why I said to you, this Constitution here, this, all police officers must have it. These are laws that protect you. You, the citizens, those of you who live in New York too. Every country, every society have one of this. You got to get yourself familiarized with it. Because a lot of you in New York, you are involved in certain practices. Whether you're documented or undocumented, I will say to you, you got to be careful what you say, when you say it, and how you say it. So I hope all of us who are online, on social media, broadcasting, that we hold one of this sacred to our hearts so that we can protect the rights of others. In this book, there is everything, every aspect of our lives. These laws are here to keep us on the straight and narrow, just like the Bible. Get familiar with yours. Get familiar with yours in St. Lucia. Folks, listen to me. Tonight, we were able to talk law. While we celebrate victory, we look at the laws and we came to the conclusion that each one is endowed or blessed with rights, basically, with rights and privileges. And we are to protect ours and we are to protect others. That's why you have laws. Years of experience. Traffic lights, years of experience. Traffic laws, years of experience. And now, cyber laws, years of experience to protect you, the citizens, and to protect me, the broadcaster. So, folks, have a beautiful night. And let's give you your blessings before we go. And may the Lord bless you and keep you. May He cause His face to shine upon you, give you peace in your homes, peace wheresoever you go. And remember, if possible, let us live peaceable with all men. God bless you, folks, and it was nice being here with you. I look forward to our next broadcast tomorrow, God's willing, at 11 o'clock. All right, 11 a.m. in the morning, we will be on the road on our Facebook page. Bonsoir, Dami Bien. Remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I.